Good morning, everyone. My name is Kim Coffrin. I'm the Senior Director of Education here at Children at Risk. Thank you for joining us today to talk about an important program that for over the last almost 60 years has become part of the fabric of our society, Head Start. In Texas alone, Head Start and Early Head Start serve more than 65,000 children every year. These are some of our most vulnerable children, children living in poverty, navigating unstable housing, and with parents who are active duty military or veterans. The Head Start isn't just about children, it's about families and our economy. Across the state, more than 1,200 Head Start programs operate, employing over 19,000 early childhood educators and staff. And the data, the data is crystal clear. Children who attend Head Start are more likely to graduate high school, attend college, and succeed throughout their lives. They're less likely to be arrested, less likely to enter foster care, less likely to suffer chronic health issues. And today, more than 50,000 parents across Texas are working, earning degrees, and in job training because they know children are safe, cared for, and learning in Head Start. This is an economic development at its most human level. Head Start in Texas also serves nearly 1,400 families with military ties, more than 3,600 families experiencing homelessness. These are not fringe cases, these are our neighbors. Meanwhile, the latest data at Child Care Deserts reveal that Texas has nearly lost over 75,000 traditional child care seats in the last year. And we cannot afford to lose any more options that allows families to work, study, and contribute to our economy. The numbers speak for themselves. Head Start children are 12% less likely to live in poverty when they are adults. They are 29% less likely to need public assistance. Their parents improve their education, increase their income, and find better jobs. Children receive more health screening, more immunizations, and more follow-up care, putting themselves on a path of lifelong wellness. And if we pull funding from Head Start, we are not trimming the fat, but we are cutting into the bone of our future. The return on investment of early childhood education is unquestionable. It reduces crime, it improves health options and health outcomes, strengthens families, and fuels our economy. Today, we are joined by several incredible leaders who will share more about their impact Head Start has on our children, our families, and our future. Dr. Bergeron is the Deputy Director of Head Start Association. Dr. Herrera is the Acting Executive Director of Child Inc. in Austin, Texas. Kristen Jackson-Jones is the Vice President of Early Childhood Programs at Child Care Group in Dallas. And Henry Jones is the Managing Partner at Texas Head Start Association. Thank you all for joining us today and being here. We're going to start with you, Dr. Bergeron. Tell us, what is the latest information that we know from the administration regarding Head Start?
Thanks, Kim, so much. It's really great to be here. I am representing the National Head Start Association, which is pervasive in every state in the country, but Texas is certainly a huge part of the Head Start network throughout the nation. And as I jump into this, I would probably be remiss if not to just let everybody know I am a former Judson Rocket outside of San Antonio and a Texas State grad. So go Bobcats. All right. On to why we are here. Um, I think I want to first lead with saying I actually led the Office of Head Start for President Trump's first term. And during that time, I experienced nothing but full support. We felt so empowered to provide high quality. There was increased funding. There was a focus on streamlining the process from the federal government to the grant recipient to make it easier and also so that more dollars landed in the program itself to affect children and families. And COVID was part of that, and the response during COVID was just amazing. We were able to support programs stayed open, children continued to eat healthful food and receive support services, families receive support services. It was pretty amazing that one thing, while the nation was kind of adjusting, Head Start was ready to respond to COVID because of the relationship they have with families. And President Trump was very supportive throughout that process. So to see a proposed budget, which was leaked, I think about 2 weeks ago, that called for the full elimination of Head Start, that was a head scratcher for me. It really, I don't quite understand it. And some of the language in the proposed budget itself is even a little confusing. Refers to Head Start as an education program. And I saw someone post that that's kind of like referring to the Marines as a fitness program. Sure, it's part of the program, but it is such a dynamic program that hits on all aspects of child development and growth, health, and that includes physical health and mental health and oral health, which is hugely important to your long-term health outcomes. It is focused on families, prioritizing parent choice, lifting parent voice in the process, and really empowering parents who are living in poverty, who are experiencing really tough challenges to see what lies ahead for their future so that that young child isn't just ready for kindergarten, but they are ready for life. And that's why you see outcomes like you referred to, Kim, around healthy outcomes, going to college, being employed. These are children who are when they enter Head Start, yes, their parents are experiencing poverty. They may be experiencing homelessness or other issues, but Head Start gives them the foundation to lift up and out of that situation. So ultimately, those children are no longer relying on government services. This is exactly in line with the priorities of this administration. So part of me just wonders if Head Start is getting lumped into something that it isn't. And there just needs to be a deeper dive into the program itself to see all of these wonderful outcomes, which you so beautifully laid out. And of course, there's a lot of research around the benefits of early childhood development, early childhood education, and that's great. But I want to make sure that we see Head Start in another light. It is more than just that. In fact, the research is that every dollar invested in Head Start returns $9. That's a pretty good investment, even in the best Wall Street days. A $9 return on your dollar is pretty good. And that's long term benefit. The short term benefits are also fantastic because what you're doing is allowing parents who otherwise couldn't afford to go to work to be able to do so. They're able to see themselves in a completely different light than they are when they're on their own. They can see college as an option. They can see working as an option. And so it just, as I said, lays that foundation for a healthy future for the entire family. I think the threat to seeing Head Start go away is really a threat to the American dream. And that might sound a little hyperbolic, but I really believe that the American dream lives in our families and children who have the least likely option of achieving it. For those of us who are lucky enough to see the American dream pretty clearly as young children, that's a matter of doing hard work and getting out there and chasing your dreams. But for people who don't even have that in their eye line because their lives just don't give them that vision, that's what Head Start does. And so it allows us to reach those families and children who are least likely to be successful and push them into that space where they can see success, where they can see achievement, where they can see independence, and then they can do all of those things that line that up to cross that finish line. And I think that's what we really need. We need to get this message out there so that folks who are making these decisions can really think through the incredible impact that eliminating Head Start would have on local communities, on the economy, on parents, on children, and on the nation as a whole. And I want to make sure, I know we're gonna move on here, but I do want to make sure that folks have our website, nhsa.org. On that website, you'll see a bar at the top you can click and easily write to your representatives and let them know that Head Start needs to be fully funded. We hope you'll join us in that message writing as we move forward on this fight to keep Head Start thriving. And we really believe we're gonna come out of this successful.
Thank you, Dr. Bergeron. And that's what my follow-up question was going to be is what do we do now at this moment in time? It's not a done deal by any stretch of the imagination. So is contacting your congressperson the best
Yeah,
action?
I think there are so many things. That's certainly what we want to see. We want to see a big campaign where we see parents and community members and business leaders, everybody taking part in the messaging because Head Start impacts everyone, whether you've been there or not, it's impacting your community. So it's important that we all come together. I think there are other ways you can reach out and show your support as well. Contact your local Head Start and ask them what they're doing because Head Starts are very active locally. NHSA is very proud to represent these programs, but they are independent. And that's something to really note here. This is a federal to local program. So the idea of independence and local impact is the epitome of that. Head Start is, and so reach out to your local program, ask them what you can do to support. And as you're signing that letter online, what I would ask everybody to do is then share that link with 50 of your friends because where we'll really make an impact isn't just everyone listening to this press conference. It's all of your networks out there that can really make the difference.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Bergeron, for being here today. We so appreciate your voice and your perspective. Speaking of local, let's move on to Dr. Herrera. He's the acting director of Child Inc., which is based in Austin, Texas, and one of those local grantees. Dr. Herrera, you're a graduate of Head Start yourself. So tell us more about what your program's doing and what this program means for children and families.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Child Inc. is the boldest, cutest, and greatest program in Travis County, right? We are servicing currently 852 children and increasing. We cover the whole Travis County. We offer the all around services that are tied into Head Start. And this is, I guess, this is a unique situation that have Head Start. This is not something new. I mean, Head Start been in this situation in multiple locations, and actually arise with good grades. I do believe that in certain point, federal government will realize how impactful this is, will correct the vision. We will provide information to have that vision corrected, and they will make aware that doing what we've been doing that is proven is the right path to go. So, absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Herrera. Dr. Herrera, I know, and Dr. Bergeron talked a little bit about the return on investment, and I know you have experience in that piece. Talk to us about that return on investment with Head Start.
Yeah, absolutely. I have, my background is as a financial analyst in nonprofit organization and government, and I have my doubts. That actually this investment number that I've been observing this from 2010, still the same number. And I had to ask, did you suffer from inflation? I mean, when you're going to do your groceries, can you buy the same amount of groceries that you back in the day buying in 2010 right now? The answer is absolutely not. Absolutely not. So actually, at the time that number was evaluated, we were using of the people behind that were using something that is return on investment. Return on investment is just a component used firmly in finance. But Head Start is a different element. It's a different program. It has a component of finance, absolutely. But it has a component as a social broad piece. And honestly, I don't believe that this formula actually justifies what the real outcome of the investment is. It doesn't. It is as a matter of fact, I've been working in a model that I understand that justifies that better and will provide information to the federal government as far as hey, listen, this is a more real number behind that, because you have several components behind that are not part of the item evaluated in Head Start. Did we quantify criminology in the future? Did we quantify the potential amount of resources that the government is not capturing because of taxation in the future. No, it's a qualitative component behind that that hits the quantitative component. And finance has elements to actually address that. So in my opinion, what we have right now, indicating that the return on investment is $7 to $9. I really believe that we are running short on that. I really believe that it's higher than that, significantly higher than that, because of several factors.
Yeah.
Our numbers are there. Our numbers are there. It's just basically reviewing the model and observing the model from a realistic perspective. It's just about that.
Thank you, Dr. Hara.
My
You're
pleasure.
right. You know, we can put the math to it, but there's also the human piece, right? So how do you measure the human piece? We know that return on investment is so much more. So,
Yeah, and for adding that, it's a model. It's a model named societal return on investment that captures that. So it's a way well-rounded model that just basically talking about return on investment. It is there, it's needed, and I know that probably provide more faith of the outcome of Head Start.
Thank you, sir, for being here. I appreciate you. We're going to go to another local childcare group up in Dallas, another local Head Start provider. Kristen Jackson, you have been in the early childhood industry for many years. And you know, the families and children are a component to this, but the other fact that I shared earlier was like there's 19,000 early childhood educators that also have their jobs and their families supported by Head Start. Talk to us about what this program means for those educators that care and teach for our children every day.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kim. It feels like a lifetime. It's been a little bit over 25 years that I've been in the field, but I just want to call the attention that Child Care Group has been around 125 years doing this good work right here in Dallas. And you know, what we know is what we know. The early childhood workforce is already in crisis in Texas and nationally. Cutting Head Start will turn the shortage into a collapse. If funding is cut, we risk losing an experienced, highly trained workforce, and these individuals aren't easily replaced. They bring years of specialized knowledge, relationships with families, and a deep understanding of child development that can't be rebuilt overnight. Simply put, this cut would add to unemployment and shrink the Texas economy. 19,000 jobs, especially in rural and underserved communities. Protecting Head Start really means protecting children's futures and preserving the stability of an essential workforce that's the backbone of family, community, and economy success in Texas and nationally. I just want policymakers to understand that protecting Head Start is about more than education. It's about safeguarding our workforce, our families, and our future. We can't afford to dismantle a program that prepares children for success and sustains 19,000, early childhood jobs across Texas.
Muted myself. Sorry about that. I unmuted. Chris, I know that the early childhood educators are, you know, a vital piece of the framework on Head Start. But talk to us a little bit about how families, their economic mobility as families. What have you seen as your years of working in Head Start, as families are making their way and benefiting from this program?
Absolutely. You know, one thing to call out is Head Start is rooted in a two-generation approach that not only meets family where they are, it meets them where they dream. It's not just a program. This is a lifeline for families. Yes, Head Start provides high quality early childhood education, but it also offers health screenings, mental health supports, nutrition services, disability services, and other individualized family planning. And those are those essential non-medical determinants of health that are needed. So this holistic approach helps families to have access to comprehensive services. They move from surviving to thriving. I think Dr. B said it best. We want families thrive with this program. That's the real power of Head Start. It builds strong children, strong families, and most importantly, strong communities.
Oh, thank you, Kristen. I love that. it not only meets families where they're at, but where they dream. What a great quote. So very, very good.
Shout out to
yeah.
Dr. Bell Campbell, who coined that quote.
All right, very good. Thank you. I was going to give you all the credit. So, thank you for being here again, Kristen. Going back to and Kristen mentioned on this a little bit, Mr. Jones, about the rural communities. We've had Austin's here, Dallas is here, but Head Start is not just in the Metroplex areas, it's in the rural communities as well. And it's the fabric of sometimes the only option for childcare and for parents in those smaller towns. Talk to us about what you're hearing in the state and what this would have, how Head Start affects those smaller communities.
I think, good morning, everyone. I think one of the big things as it relates to looking at Head Start, I think everybody actually said that Head Start isn't just about early childhood. It actually deals with a more comprehensive approach to poverty, because that's really what we're talking about. And how do we actually help move families out of poverty? And when we talk about rural communities, that we have to look at the type of organizations that are actually supporting these communities, because in some communities, Head Start is the economic engine in that community. And the fact that federal dollars leaving straight from DC and actually coming straight to the local program, I think that works. We know that actually works. And it works because at the end of the day, we've heard Dr. Bergeron as well as Dr. Mariano Herrera both actually said that, that those dollars turn over 7 to 9 times before they actually even leave a community. So we can't let these dollars leave. One of the things that I saw most recently, the Texas House passed $100 million child care funding, which is actually great. It's great if you actually put it with the federal dollar, because most of these organizations have limited funding. So when you can actually diversify revenue streams, and I know that we get it on the business side, when we can diversify our revenue streams and actually have federal dollars, state dollars, local, private, foundation dollars, it actually helps position an organization for success. Definitely rural communities. Growing up in a rural community myself, population less than 1,000, that Head Start was one of those engines that was actually there. It gave staff an opportunity to have jobs who wouldn't normally actually have a job. Because if we think about the history of Head Start, it was a grassroots efforts that made it happen. And grassroots because parents became staff. They stayed in the community. They were able to actually make sure that, not only was it about the job, but they ensured that, families were getting high quality health care. They were looking at the community and looking at things related to food insecurities that are actually in a lot of these communities, because they don't have grocery stores and a range of other things. Like where I grew up, you actually had to drive 20 miles before you actually got to a grocery store. So it wasn't like you were just walking in. So rural communities actually have, so much more complexity around operating, because they have they start out with limited resources. And what we're trying to do is to make sure that Head Start stays around for so many different reasons around how it really and truly is impacting the local economies. And one of the things that I read recently was it was an article from the U.S. Chamber Foundation, and it highlighted significant economic impact of childcare accessibility within state economies. And it showed that states were actually losing anywhere from $100 million to $10 billion annually for lack of access to childcare, or whatever else. So a part of it is Head Start is not only is it a cornerstone, 60 years. I mean, it's been around, and it's not. You can't just compare it to early care and education and pre-K, because who are we talking about? We're talking about families that live at or below the poverty guidelines. We're talking about families that are actually receiving public assistance. So they're receiving TANF or SSI, or these families are what Head Start considers categorically eligible, meaning that they're actually, homeless, or they're in foster care, or the family's actually receiving SNAP. You know, all of these things are things that really impact what we're talking about in Head Start. The great thing about Head Start is that it also gives access, and it's focused on helping some families that have children with disabilities. It helps to support that. And I think it's actually huge. And there's not a dollar limit related to what that family can receive to gain access, because the way the regulations are currently written, which is a great thing, that 10% of opportunities can actually be made available to families that don't meet those other eligibility requirements, but would benefit from what Head Start actually provides. So it really is a community-driven program.
Great, thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, as you talk to Head Starts across across Texas, what are you telling them? What are you telling them right now in this moment?
Oh, for sure. A part of it is actually being around this space for 33 years and 5 different presidents. You actually understand that anytime that there's a change in administration, there's going to be changes in policy. So a part is actually helping them understand that one, that we have to get out there and we got to do stuff. We got to get in front of people say that all politics is local. Well, we got to actually get in touch with our local legislators and make sure that they understand that Head Start should exist and continue to do great things. The fact that there's Head Start programs are operated by so many different types of organizations, that's another value there, where you have like community action agencies that are embedded in not just doing Head Start, but are connected with things that address the entire family. You have limited purpose organizations like Child Inc. that they do early child education. That's the bulk of what they do. But you also have, in the state of Texas, you actually have education service centers who actually support independent school districts. And they support them from a training and development standpoint. But you also have independent school districts that are actually grantees as well. You have faith-based organizations, you have for-profit organizations, you have not-for-profit. So there's so many different type organizations that operate Head Start that not only bring those dollars to the local community, but bring and provide those much needed services that a community needs to be viable. And we say it all the time, you know, we don't do anything that's not big in Texas. So we have to continue to make a big statement in Texas by ensuring that whatever dollars that are actually allocated on the federal level, and I agree with Dr. Bergeron, she's been in that spot at OHS during the first administration. And I think that at the end of the day, you cannot lump Head Start with everything else. It'll do a disservice to the nation by doing that. I think that Head Start needs to sit around another 60 years. I sit on the board of the Shriver Poverty Law Center in Chicago. And Sergeant Shriver was one of the architects as it relates to this. I saw a recent post Maria Shriver posted about a week ago, where she said that, you know, her father's legacy, but also the commitment to serving low-income children and families. We cannot not allow that to happen. We have to actually make sure that, you know, we continue to support the National Head Start Association. We continue to actually support, you know, the Texas Head Start Association and become more active in it, and to make sure that our voices are being heard locally. Get involved, definitely getting involved locally.
Thank you very much. And what a great way to end the press conference, to remember Sergeant Shriver's purpose behind 60 years ago of bringing Head Start to us, and what a cornerstone it has been for those 60 years for the children and families it served, for the employees that it's employed, for the local communities it supported, and for our entire country. So thank you all for being here, for helping us bring what Head Start is and does to not only those children and families, but to all of us in the forefront, and continue. And thank you for bringing our action charges next, to make sure that our elected officials, both local and at the federal government, know the importance of this program for everyone involved. Thank you all for being here, and we wish you all a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.